Products not yet rated. Rated E for everyone, or T for teens.
Can't you see it's coming? Can't you see it's coming? Can't you see it's coming? Can't you see it's coming?
Everybody should be completely psyched about this. It's the PlayStation 2 computer entertainment system at Walmart. PlayStation 2 has the realism that gamers are looking for. You want to be in the game. You want to be the game. It's got a CD player, DVD player, incredible graphics. You can play the old games on the system, but wait till you see the new ones. It's a whole mental body feel. Buy your PlayStation 2 here at Walmart, because we have everyday low prices. There is no hype. It's what it says it is. PlayStation 2, get it at Walmart.
New for 2078. PlayStation 9's new electronic spores tap straight into your adrenal gland. PS9 has improved retinal scanning. A mind control system. Holographic movie surround vision. And telepathic personal music. The ultimate just got better. PlayStation 9. Teleport yours today.
Final Fantasy X is gorgeous and grand. Absolutely mind-blowing. Enthralling gameplay. Simply incredible. This is what PlayStation 2 is all about. Don't believe a word till you play it.
I've done it.
Final Fantasy X, rated T for teen, only on PlayStation 2.
Swear soft.
You can't kill what you can't catch. Spy Hunter. Prepare to be hunted. Rated T.
Can anyone make a good reboot of an old game? I thought maybe. So I checked out Spy Hunter for the PS2.
Begin operation.
All the stuff from '83 is in there. Machine guns, missiles, smoke screens, one fat ride. 14 levels give the game enough depth to keep you occupied. It's a little short, but for a while there, it's a lot of fun. Toonami gives Spy Hunter 7 out of 10. The old school's in session.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Rated E for everyone. Frequency.
Hey gang, well it's E3 time again, which is why I'm hanging out in front of the Los Angeles Convention Center.
Hey Maggie, since this is our first issue packaged in with the official PlayStation magazine, you might want to take this opportunity to introduce yourself.
Oh, that's right! Hi gang, I'm Maggie, the host of the PlayStation Underground, and as my producer just mentioned, we've teamed up with the official PlayStation magazine so that every once in a while you'll get more than just your regular demo disc. You'll get a DVD, playable only on your PlayStation 2, packed with interviews, behind-the-scenes footage, memory card downloads, and more!
And one annoying, bubbly host.
To celebrate the transition, we thought we'd do something a little different for this issue. So our programmers are using a new 360-degree camera technology from a company called En Route. From the time you enter the E3 hall until you reach the Sony booth, you can actually get a quick peek at the show floor. Here's how it works. Once I take off out of here, you can use the analog sticks to pan the camera left or right, so you can virtually look around.
I figured you'd sneak that word in there somewhere.
Once inside, the Sony booth will transform into a cool heads-up display where you can check out some of the games and videos in different areas.
And what about the stories?
I'm getting to that! When you're inside the booth, you can also check out the segments we shot while in Japan on the games Dark Cloud and Extermination.
I thought you went to the Tokyo Game Show.
How right you are! However, rather than showing you the games that will someday end up on the shelves here in the US, we thought we'd give you a look at some of the stranger titles.
And downloads?
They're in there. Just look for the icon on the menu display.
Well, it sounds to me like you've got this issue wrapped up, but aren't you afraid that the 360-degree camera will show your bad side?
What bad side?
This summer, you will go on a mission deep into the Antarctic where a terrible threat awaits. Fear and danger wait at every turn. A mission that you may not survive. This is Extermination. From Takuro Fujiwara and his team at Deep Space, Extermination will take you places you've never been before.
Extermination takes place at an underground research facility at the South Pole. Because of the extremely low temperatures, they're able to conduct experiments on dangerous viruses. Suddenly, a distress signal is sent from the base, and all communications are cut off.
When Dennis Riley and his partners in the Marine Special Forces Red Light Team arrive at the top-secret Antarctic base, they find that infected mutants have taken the base over, and that they are hell-bent on infecting the members of Red Light with their deadly virus.
Well, there are creatures in the facility that have violently mutated. They spit a green substance, and the infection that they're carrying is spread through that substance. At first, when you become infected with the virus,
Take this!
you can cure yourself with medicine. You can recover.
The antibodies will temporarily ward off infection.
But if you get 100% infected, you can't cure yourself with the regular vaccine anymore. You need to find a treatment pod. When you're infected, your body gets eaten away from the inside. Your strength diminishes over time. When you've deteriorated completely, it's game over.
deadly mutants, a lethal virus, danger at every turn. Sounds like a classic formula for an action movie, and that's exactly what Deep Space is aimed to create in Extermination. An action movie where the player is immersed into a world where his actions, his fear, and his wits are what control the outcome.
We all see tons of films, and they all affect us differently. They move us, or they excite us. So we wanted to make the action in games feel more like a film. We thought that the gameplay would have a better feel to it. You'd get the full flavor and power of it all. So to make this a reality, we developed the Region Action System. And I think that clearly distinguishes this game from other action games.
With the Region Action System, you control the character's movement with just one button. For example, when you need to jump, hitting the action button will make you jump. If you need to climb, just hit the same button. It makes the controls streamlined and easy to use.
From the player's point of view, you're closer to being able to react to the game on a split-second gut basis.
Other than his teammates, Sergeant Riley has one crucial companion in the Antarctic cold, his advanced, highly customizable assault rifle, the SPR-4.
The player can rapidly customize the SPR-4. They can find attachments to make it into a flamethrower, a grenade launcher, or numerous other weapons.
From the executive producer of Biohazard and the creator of Mega Man, Extermination is the next step forward. You'll be amazed at the realism as weapons experts were called in to work on the project.
We worked with Mr. Ichiro Nagata. This man is knowledgeable in military affairs. He writes articles for Combat Magazine, so he's extremely famous in Japan. He not only supervised the parts of the game having to do with guns and other firearms, he gave us all sorts of advice, such as how the characters should handle the weapons, how they should look while they're firing. We even took some of the movement in the game from the demonstrations he gave us.
From the detailed weaponry to movie-quality cutscenes that lead you through the story to the explosive gameplay, Extermination is a summer blockbuster you won't want to miss.
Having fun? And who are we pretending to be today? Laura? Snake?
And simulation. No, just a journalist on the run from her evil producer.
Touchy.
Well, if you're done with your little holographic game of hide and seek, why don't you tell the viewers what's in this issue?
No problem. Hey gang, in this issue, check out Eco. We got the lowdown from the developers in Japan. Then I flew over to Naughty Dog to hang out with the creators of Jak and Daxter. For those of you who thought the 360 camera we used at E3 in our last issue was cool, the folks at En Route showed us how they're using it to give you a head-spinning look at things.
Head spinning, huh? It's kind of like an exorcist camp. With the head spinning.
Begin simulation. Now, where did I leave that laser?
There have been other worlds before. Mythical, exotic, timeless. Final Fantasy, the games. Interactive worlds that have captivated millions, taking you to the limits of your imagination. And now, the phenomenon continues with Final Fantasy X. A young adventurer named Tidus, beginning an epic journey. And Yuna, training in the ancient art of summoning. Join them as they struggle to save their world from a vast evil known only as sin. Young heroes, their courage, their passion. Enter the battle. Experience the danger. Their world is your world. Become the adventure. Final Fantasy X. Available only on PlayStation 2. Coming spring 2002. Product not yet rated.
Squaresoft.
The PlayStation 2 was released with the potential to create stunning worlds that game players had never seen before. Now, there's a game where that potential has been realized. Eco is a new game from SEI that puts the player in a wondrous fantasy world on a quest to save a princess and themselves.
The story of Eco begins in a small village. Every generation a boy is born with horns on his head. The boy is believed to be evil, and the villagers sacrifice him to cleanse the village of evil spirits. The boy is led away to a castle to be sacrificed. By sheer accident, he's able to escape. So now he's roaming the castle and trying to find a way out. However, and here this game differs from other games, there is another prisoner in the castle, a girl named Yorda. Eco meets her, and, hand in hand, the two of them try to escape from the castle. It's a different kind of story.
Escape will not be easy. Yorda and Eco must first battle many enemies and solve a series of mind-bending puzzles to emerge safely from their prison.
The castle is built on the edge of a cliff. On one side of it, there's a terrace with a majestic windmill. On the other side is a vast ocean. The sea breeze blows in and the windmill turns. The castle walls tower above it. It's an extremely beautiful atmosphere. The place feels like a famous tourist attraction.
Beyond the amazing scenery, the game is enhanced by the movement of objects, such as the swaying of hanging chains and the turning of the windmill. We were sure that this was done using motion capture, but we were wrong.
PlayStation 2の計算
Well, PlayStation 2 has incredible computing power, but if you import realistic physics into a game, you get something that you didn't expect. It's too realistic. The key is to present it so it looks believable, but it is still exciting gameplay. It took us a tremendous amount of time to master that balance. We obsessed over the look and feel of the game. We animated everything by hand to capture our imaginations, to bring to life what was happening inside our heads. In the beginning, you've got something that's been clearly and deeply imagined. We investigated a lot of different methods, developing different technical approaches to bring it to life on the screen. We worked really hard at it, and the result is the sort of game that you see.
All of their work paid off. Ico shows off the graphical power of the PlayStation 2 to its fullest. Be sure to take a look at this beautiful world for yourself.
Hey gang, Maggie here outside the headquarters of Naughty Dog Software. Up there, the gang is hard at work on their new game, Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy. My reputation as a journalist must precede me, because I'm about to score an interview with Jak himself. Let's head on up. You may recognize Naughty Dog as the folks behind that famous Bandicoot, star of the Crash series. Now they're working hard to make stars of Jak and his buddy Daxter. I'm going to get a little FaceTime with Jak and discuss his rise to fame. I can't seem to find the receptionist, but Jak's gotta be around here somewhere. Excuse me, I'm here to see Jak. He's expecting me?
Jak who?
Jak. From Jak and Daxter?
Yeah, you might want to try the conference room down the hall.
Have you guys seen Jak? I had a couple quick questions for him.
Jak is just a CG character, but I can tell you anything you want to know.
He's a poly, not a CG character. What's up with you fleshies anyway? Always trying to claim credit for our hard work.
Right. Jak's just a little busy right now. But there's some folks in the studio who might be able to answer your questions.
Well, after wandering around the set for a while, I tracked down a few members of the Naughty Dog team who were quite helpful. They told me a little bit about the adventures of Jak and Daxter.
Jak and Daxter is about a couple of friends. They have a tendency to get into a lot of trouble together, and there's one particular time at the start of the game where the two of them are exploring a forbidden place called Misty Island.
As Jak and Daxter are exploring Misty Island, they come upon a little vial of something they don't know what it is. Daxter throws it to Jak. Jak catches it, and as he catches it, it starts glowing. This is part of the magical force Jak has.
Daxter accidentally got transformed into this kind of rodent form, something he's not very happy about. The two of you are kind of poking around the world, trying to figure out what they can do to change Daxter back into a human.
The adventure begins with Jak and Daxter running back to the sage, who's a mentor of theirs in the village that they grew up in, and saying, "What can we do?" And he says, "Well, there's only one person I know of that might even be able to help you. He lives far to the north, and you're going to have to go find him."
Wow, this eco sounds like some powerful stuff. What the heck is it? And where did it come from?
Eco is an energy force that runs through the planet. There are many different varieties. There's blue eco, and green eco, and yellow eco, and red eco. And each one of these different kinds of eco give you different kinds of powers to the game, and you have to learn how to use the eco to your advantage.
We have Dark Eco, which acts as a catalyst for all the other ecos. Like Blue Eco, by itself, you might have some sparks, you'd have static electricity rubbing your feet on the floor or whatever, right? You mix some Dark Eco in there and you've got a thunderstorm, millions of volts and just incredible power.
So, Jack and Daxter leave their village and set off to find an antidote to turn Daxter back into his human form.
I'm actually in Sandover Village, which is where you start the game. There's a bunch of huts behind me, as you can see. Those huts are the dwelling place of a lot of the villagers that you'll meet when you first start the game. And all of these villagers generally have something that they want you to do for them, and you can do these quests and tasks and get a power cell in exchange. One particular example is the sculptor in Sandover Village has lost his muse. She's run away to Misty Island. She's a little furry creature. And so when you get to Misty Island, you'll see the muse running around. So if you catch the muse and bring it back to the sculptor will give you a power cell.
Oh, my muse! You saved her! Oh, you really are the best. Here, take this power cell. I won't need it now that I have my inspiration back.
Well, that sounds simple enough. What else are those two going to be doing?
There's a tremendous number of different tasks in the game. Some are incredibly simple, like just find a little hidden place and collect a reward. Others are woven across a number of different levels. A specific example of these tasks would be in the first village. The mayor is complaining that the village has no power anymore because the eco power beam from the jungle is broken. And so you have to go into the jungle and discover that the evil lurkers have diverted the power beam into their machine, and then you have to realign the beam towers all across the jungle to connect it back to the village.
Jack and Daxter face a ton of enemies in the game, like these nasty lurkers who are constantly in their face. But be careful, they're a lot smarter than they look.
They're actually quite intelligent. So for example, in many cases, if you come to a gap in a cliff and you jump it, they'll jump it and keep chasing you.
But let's face it, Jack would not stand a chance against all those lurkers without a little help from Samos Hagai, the Green Sage, and his daughter Kayra.
Well, one of my favorite characters is actually the Green Sage, Samos. Samos is sort of your classic wise man, although instead of the typical nice, kindly old man, he's this really crotchety old guy, yells at you a lot. He's always saying things like, "Why haven't you done this yet?" So it sort of adds a element of sarcastic humor to the game.
Fine, fine. Adventure away then. And while you're out adventuring, why don't you make yourself useful?
Hey, baby! What do you say you and I go cruising on this A-Grav Zoomer?
Kira is Jack's mentor, the Sage's very cute daughter. She's not your typical kind of teenage girl. Instead, she's in there in the racer machine shop in their hut, tinkering in the garage, building this A-Grav Zoomer device. She's determined to really get them working.
Great! You have the 18 cells needed to power my heat shield.
The Naughty Dog team spent a ton of time working on the details of the game to get it looking as good as they can, and it shows. All the work has really paid off, especially in the animations.
We've created kind of a unique system for blending different animations to create smooths between what would be two totally separate animations in most other games now. I'll give you an example of this. If you're running along, you may be halfway in speed between a walk and a run. Well, what our game will do is it'll take the walk animation, it'll take the run animation, and it'll evenly blend between them to create a new frame that represents where your feet would be if you're running at that speed. And if you jump, it'll blend all of those things into the jump and create a new unique frame of animation that represents exactly what you'd be at that time. And what that ends up creating is not infinite, but a humongous number of possibilities, all of which, every single frame, are created just to get the right animation to make him smoothly move in and out of every one of his frames. And that's truly unique.
Smooth moves alone mean nothing unless you've got the look to back it up, and these two definitely have the look.
The character design process for this game was very challenging for us because we actually have now the capability of creating characters that we always wanted to see on either a video game or an animated feature. And because of that, the level of detail that Jack has is about 6 times greater than what the level of detail that Crash had.
So for example, Jack himself is more polygons and is more detailed than the entire screen was in a single frame of Crash. Just Jack.
It's not only the main characters that look great, but the entire world really comes to life. The team at Naughty Dog have truly pushed the power of PlayStation 2, creating an absolutely amazing-looking world for Jak and Daxter to explore. One of the things that really sparked my interest is the particle system.
The particle system is a very handy thing. It deals with little tiny chunks of stuff that you can sort of assemble together into making a flame or a piece of smoke or maybe ripples or rain.
All of the places in the game are really cool. All I can say is, wow, this new world really shows off the power of PlayStation 2.
One of my favorite visual effects in the game is when you kind of battle your way up to the top of the tower over there, the one with the rotating disc on it. You can then look down across several levels worth of kind of coastline, and you see your village and the beach, and look on towards the end of the game, and you get this awesome sense of like space, and it's just very dramatic.
Each of these areas are pretty impressive in their own right, but you're going to be amazed at how big and cool this world really is.
One of the things we set out to do with Jak and Daxter is to create a giant contiguous world. What that means is once you've actually started playing the game, you'll never have to stop and wait for a load time. You'll never have to pause as you're playing to wait to go into a different area. And the camera never really cuts to say, oh, okay, you were in the forest, but now you're in a cave, so it's a totally different situation. You just walk in and out of doorways, or you walk across a bridge and you're in a new area.
I learned a ton about the game from Jason and his team at Naughty Dog, but I still didn't get to meet Jack. So I decided that instead of waiting for the game, I'd wait for him. Is Jack here yet?
Nope.
Is Jack here yet?
No.
Is Jack here
No.
yet? Is Jack here yet?
No.
Is Jack here yet?
No.
Hey, baby. What do you say you and I go cruising?
Rule number 1, I don't date animals.
Oh, my aching head.
Walk it off, tough guy.
I can't seem to catch a single fish in this river.
Woo! Maybe it's your breath. Yeah, I remember that day. 32 against 2. Slow day for yours truly. I'll let Jack handle these lurkers. Once in a while, I throw him a bone. Yeah, I let him have these ones, too. He's been a little rusty, so,
Hi, Jack.
Hey! I was just talking about you.
A new legacy is born, ready for everyone.
You think you have it rough? Ever try fighting a dozen lurkers at once? Those guys make purse snatchers seem like Boy Scouts. You fight any 300-foot robots today? Uh-huh. Didn't think so.
It looks like your partner's doing all the work.
Maybe it looks that way to the untrained eye. Huh? Hey, big guy! Been there long?
A new legacy is born, ready for everyone. In a universe parallel to ours, where adventures unlike anything you've ever imagined before await you, where the mysteries of the past are unveiled and darkness broods, there looms a beacon of hope.
I'm Daxter. He's Jack. He's with me.
A new legacy is born, ready for everyone.
Stay fuzzy. Save the world. Choices.
Jack and Daxter have arrived and need your help. Toonami's giving you the chance to join in the adventure. We're giving away 20 PlayStation 2s and 500 copies of Jack and Daxter, The Precursor Legacy, rated E for everyone. Get ready to ride, jump, and race through 12 huge levels in the next generation of platforming adventure. There you have it. Just watch Toonami today from 5 to 7 for the toll-free number.
See what you got here. Does this hurt? Oh! Does this hurt? Oh! Does that tickle? You know what's funny? This is my chart. Sometimes it's story time. Hey, what's for dinner around here? Share with your roommate, right? I need pepper.
More pain, more game. Crash is back in his toughest adventure yet, The Wrath of Cortex. It's gonna be just like the good old days, only better. Rated E for everyone.
You know my insurance covers sponge baths.
Hey there, welcome to Casa de Maggie. I thought I'd kill some time doing what I do best. I sort of forgot you were coming over or I would have cleaned up. Oh well, you're probably wondering what we've got jammed into this issue. First we went up to Electronic Arts in Vancouver to see how SSX Tricky was coming along. After watching this segment, be sure and check out the demo in the vault. Then we asked the producer of Hot Shots Golf to show us what it takes to make a US version of a Japanese game. If you ever wanted to be a musician but you're lacking in a talent, then the PlayStation 2 could be your instrument of choice.
So killer, dude.
Check out our segment on frequency and maybe you can develop those musical chops you never knew you had. And for those die-hard RPG fans, the development team at Square gave us a sneak peek at Final Fantasy X. Well, I've got a few more demos to try in the vault, so I hope you don't mind letting yourselves out. Happy gaming, and I'll see you next issue.
After almost a full year of playing SSX, we felt that we were ready to hit the slopes ourselves and put what we learned in the game to good use. We were wrong. While nursing our bruises, we were glad to hear that the folks at EA Canada had spent that year working on SSX Tricky.
SSX Tricky is the world of SSX a year later. The World Circuit is back on this year. We have 6 of the original riders coming back and 6 new riders joining the season as well. We've got 2 new venue locations, and all last year's stops on the tour are back as well.
Over the course of the year, you can expect Normal Mountain or Real Mountain would have some considerable changes. We tried to reflect the same kind of thing in our courses, but we also did a lot of deliberate work to try and make them a lot more fun and really enhance the show-off aspect of the game as well. Give the player a lot of opportunity to pull more tricks.
Garibaldi is a dramatic run.
Well, we couldn't wait to get our hands on the game, so the first thing we checked out was the new tracks.
Garibaldi is a new first course. One of the things we discovered with last year's game was that we wanted a much more forgiving first track. Large air, big drops, very fast speeds, with very wide bank turns and that. So it gives a much more compelling first experience for people to kind of get their bearings on the track.
We tried to make it easy enough for the first-time user, and yet we kept hidden shortcuts and certain elements that are very effective for the experienced user as well. We have a huge drop right off the bat. It's about 300 or so meters free fall. So yeah, it's a great new track.
Not only are there new courses to explore, but a whole new crew of riders to choose from.
Out of the 6 new characters we've got, Simon is probably one of my favorites. Last year I felt we had a lot of, pretty mainstream sort of characters. This guy brings a real element of danger or unpredictability to the mix, which is something that we're really happy with.
This is the stop! Simon says, big hairy freaking deal. I am the man!
Luther Dwayne is a good old boy, and he thinks he's quite the competitor.
You look like you need protection, you namby-pamby, scissor freak, chumpy boot, wimp.
His sheer size is the thing you need to look out for there, as well as his attitude.
You want rough? I'll give you rough.
And you really just try and make sure that your biggest visual cues are going to come across. Particularly from your rear view, which is the gameplay view for the most part. So looking at a character's butt down a hill all the time, it better look good. So I guess Luther Dwayne is probably a good example of that. He's got quite a sizable crack showing in the game.
One of my favorite new characters is a character that's been described as kind of dorky cool. His name's Eddie Wachowski. He's got a red afro. Upon physical first impressions, you're kind of going, what a dork. After you kind of get a little bit of a sense of his dialogue and his delivery and things like this, he's not so bad. He's just got his own style, his own thing going on. Eddie's voiced by David Arquette.
You're not really picking me, are you? Just kidding!
And that was a huge contributor to the overall sense of Eddie the character.
That felt worse than it looked.
Besides David Arquette, other celebrities that were involved in the game included Lucy Liu.
This is gonna be very interesting.
Billy Zane.
Buddha, wax your way to victory.
Oliver Platt.
in the house!
And Macy Gray.
Ooh, look at them shoes! Why you get them shoes?
The surprising thing for me personally was that a lot of them were familiar with the game and had actually played it quite a bit. David Arquette was quite familiar with it. Macy Gray plays with her son.
Don't sweat me, look me over, check me out.
A lot of them sit in studios and voice over movies that they work on anyway, because all that stuff has to be redone after they shoot it all. So they're used to sitting in a studio and reading scripts and really putting a lot of effort into how they deliver it. So it was pretty neat to see, actually.
I got what you need right here, baby.
Let's ride.
All right, let's go! Yo, what's up with that?
The improved character development is not only in the voiceover, but can be seen in the artificial intelligence.
We found that in last year's game, the pack separated reasonably quickly, and you didn't really get much of that passing people in the corners because you typically only had one guy off in the distance and maybe one person behind you. So with the 6 riders that are on the field, we worked out a much more tight racing environment. The second aspect of it that I'm really quite excited about has to do with the aggression AI. Last year we had a little bit of random probability of other riders getting a little physical with you. This year we've created a real dynamic environment to that. So they react to you based on your pre-established relationship with them as friends, enemies, and neutrals.
With no friends in the lineup, you better be careful out there today.
These characters know each other. There's animosity in some cases. There's alliances in other cases. You push your friends around, they're going to ask you what's going on. They're going to talk to you. I thought we were friends. You push your enemy around, and that guy's going to come after you. He's going to kick your butt down the hill.
Each one of them has a tolerance and an aggression value. The tolerance has to do with how many times you hit them before they react. There's 3 levels of reaction. One is a verbal response, the second is a little bit of a physical and verbal response, and the third level is a seek and destroy response. It's playing awesome. We're just in love with it.
Sound and music can really make the video game experience immersive. In SSX Tricky, they've taken it a step further.
EA Sports a couple of years ago built a bunch of software that we use in-house, which enables us to take music and make it change depending on events driven from the game. When we get the songs for the game, we go, actually what we could really use is your multi-tracks, and we remix the multi-tracks to give us a couple different levels of intensity on the song. So the high level would be like the standard tune that you're hearing, but if you're boarding really bad, what you might take out like a guitar riff or take the bass out, so it's just like drums. And so the software actually changes this all up like on the fly. So this interactive music software that we have is this like state of the art. I mean, it's changing the music every bar depending on how well you're doing.
The interactive music is definitely cool, but what really makes you feel that you were in the game and not just playing it is the fact that the audio is in 4-channel surround sound.
We spent a lot of time this year kind of sorting out how to do DTS surround.
So what it does to the sound is you've got boarders coming in from behind you. They'll start talking at you and you can hear them coming up on your back, or if you hit something, it'll fly by you and it sounds like it's going by in full theater style sound. Once you start listening to DTS digital, it's really hard to go back to stereo because it sounds so good. It's really immersive. It's like you're in the middle of the game.
Well, luckily for us, a bruised ego was the worst of our injuries. But at least we're in top physical condition for another winter on the SSX circuit. Have you ever dreamed of being a rock star, performing killer songs to the roar of a crowd? Well, Harmonix, a Boston-based developer, has now made it possible, even if you can't play a note on a guitar. Get ready to hone your skills on the world's newest musical instrument, the PlayStation 2.
Frequency is a revolutionary rhythm music game that will convert gamers into musicians and probably a lot of musicians into gamers.
More than anything else, Frequency is a game about making music, about playing music. We've really tried to turn the game controller into a new kind of musical instrument that players need to master in order to beat the game.
We think there's 2 things that really separate Frequency from a lot of the other music games that we've played. One of them is that since it's a multi-track environment, you get much more deeply involved into like the fabric of the music because you're listening to each track individually and you can hear what each one does. The other thing that's different is a big part of the game is the remix mode, whereby you can take all the components of the song and put them together pretty much however you like to make your own remixes of the songs that we have in the game.
In Frequency, you enter a world that looks nothing like you've ever seen, and by using the easy-to-learn controls, you'll be making music in no time.
The gameplay in Frequency is like Tempest meets Dance Dance Revolution, where you're actually traveling down a tunnel of music, and you choose a particular track to play, which is a particular instrument, like drum, bass, voice, guitar, and you have to press the buttons to the rhythm of that particular track to complete that track.
Visually, this game is quite different from any of the preceding music games in that it's an intense visual overload experience. we're trying to capture rave-like intensity with the visual experience in this game, and that's really never been touched on in any of the other games.
Picture yourself going down a tube or a tunnel that's got 8 sides, and each one of those sides has a different instrument on it. So one of the sides may have a kick and snare track. One of the sides might have a bass track. One might have a guitar and a vocal.
The key to a music game is having great songs, and Frequency has one of the best lineups of artists ever assembled for a video game.
In terms of the music, instead of just using kind of backdrop video game music, we've actually gone out and licensed a bunch of great kick-ass music from some fantastic bands, and so the music that you're playing in this game is real music by top bands that you've heard on the radio, and not just what people normally think of as video game music.
The roster of artists who've contributed songs to Frequency is one incredible compilation. No Doubt, Powerman 5000, Fear Factory, Low Fidelity All-Stars, and Orbital all have songs in the game. And many of the songs were written for the game or are custom remixes you can't hear anywhere else.
Sony asked us, gee, is there any bands that you'd like to have in the game? And Josh, the music director, and I said, gee, what about Curve? I wonder if they'd do a track. They're not a huge draw in the U.S., but they were sort of pioneers of electronic rock in the early 90s, and I've always been a big fan. They did a custom track for us in 2 weeks, and we were thrilled. It came out great.
One of the artists who really surprised me was DJ Qbert. I didn't know what to expect from him.
The first time the guys came to me about Frequency, I was like, okay, cool, let's do some whatever scratching incorporated into video games. And as I was playing the game and testing it out, and I was like, whoa, this is really cool. I was pretty addicted at the start. Playing Frequency and scratching is kind of like the same type of energy, sort of, because when I scratch, it's free and you're totally like, having fun. And it's the same thing with video games. You're just releasing your soul through just having fun. It turned out even better than I expected.
The Qbert level is out of control. It's probably my favorite track in the game now. But frankly, during the development process, every time we got a new track from one of these artists, there was always excitement through the office because everyone was so psyched to get their hands on a new song.
Getting such an amazing group of artists involved in the game was a big challenge for the developers at Harmonix.
When we first started calling around to the artists and their management, I mean, their curiosity was definitely piqued, but it wasn't until they actually saw the game that they really started to get excited about it.
So killer, dude.
One of the biggest hurdles was just actually setting up meetings with these people, just actually getting access to them, because once we did, everybody saw like the potential of it, and if at all possible, they wanted to be a part of it.
I first heard about this game, I got an email from Ryan at Sony, and he told me that they were working on a music game. He kind of gave me the rundown a little bit. He's like, yeah, you guys could write a song, or we could take a song from your record, and the person playing it can actually remix it. They could almost create their own track out of it, and I thought that was a great idea.
In addition to the music that the bands have provided for the game, they've also provided some imagery, either short video clips or pictures, and we take that imagery and use it in the game world. So in the arenas, there are these large billboards, and actually those video clips and pictures get splattered onto those billboards so that as you're playing, for example, the No Doubt level, then there'll be images of Gwen Stefani on these billboards in the cybernetic world behind you.
The depth and frequency comes not only from the songs in the game, but the different areas in which you make your music.
There are 27 different songs in the game, but each song you can play in any number of different arenas, and the arenas are essentially visual backdrops for the tunnel that you fly through. They've got sort of different visual themes to them. As you progress through the game and beat more and more levels, you unlock more and more arenas, until if you win the game on Expert, you've unlocked all 8 arenas. In single player, you're trying to beat enough patterns to stay alive to get all the way through the song. Multiplayer is a little different. In multiplayer, you're actually trying to get more points than your opponent, and you have various power-ups and ways of kind of beating your opponent down. It's kind of similar to sort of a kart racing game in that way.
There's a lot of flexibility in this game. There's a lot of room to add to what's already there. When you're in single player mode, after you unlock all the song, you actually can also go in and kind of jam along with it. You can just kind of improvise. And there'll be notes, just like a little solo going in over everything. Or there'll be a scratch track where you can go in and scratch over the samples. You can just kind of add your own beats over on top of it. You can recreate what's done, and then you can kind of add your little signature on top of that. When you go into remix mode, you can basically just start from scratch and do your own version of that song.
As they worked on the game, the developers realized that they were making something completely new, turning a video game into a musically creative experience.
I think the idea behind Frequency from the developers was to give people who didn't necessarily have the time or the ability or the skills to write or produce music to get the enjoyment of actually creating music. You know, I think it's going to appeal to a lot of different people for that very reason, because everybody loves music, you know. Everybody's cool loves music.
One of the things we figured out was there's just millions and millions of kids with really good video game skills for which they get no real credit, but it's a real skill. So the high concept that we came up with was, hey, let's build a game that allows you to express yourself musically with a skill set that you already have, namely playing video games.
So what we've really tried to do in this game is present an experience to the user which looks and feels like a video game, and they can use the skills that they already have as video gamers to get inside it and master it. But at its core, it's a game about making music, and they realize once they're into it that what they're really doing is not playing a video game so much as playing music.
Simply put, the Final Fantasy series has been the most successful and innovative in video game history. The games have captured fans by always staying on the cutting edge of technology and storytelling. Final Fantasy X is no exception. As usual, the game has a completely new storyline and a new combat system. Recently, we went to Japan and talked to the team at Squaresoft to find out how they're keeping the series fresh.
Final Fantasy X takes place in a big city called Zenarkand. They play a fictional sport called Blitzball there. The main character is a popular player in this sport and comes to a place called Spila to play. When he tries to return to his hometown, he meets many different people, and that's where the story starts. In order to shock and surprise the players the way I did in Final Fantasy VII and VIII, we had to keep including new elements in the game that nobody thought of before. In Final Fantasy X, we could add the voiceovers for the characters and show the facial expressions very well. Because of that, I kept the overall story very simple. For the theme of Final Fantasy X, all of us wanted to create something that other companies hadn't done. That was our main goal. Independence is the main theme for the story. Independence from society or parents as you grow up.
This time we're introducing the count time battle system instead of using active time battle, which we used in the previous games. In this system, the player can stop time during any part of the battle. Then the player can open up a window on the screen that shows the order of attacks. So the player can play strategically by seeing which monsters are going to attack and which characters will be able to attack. I want the player to enjoy the strategy of the game. For the hardcore gamers who enjoy the battle scenes, we created something called spheres, which you receive by attacking monsters. This item allows your character to advance more quickly. For example, when you damage a monster 1.5 times more than his hit points, you can receive more spheres. This way the game maniac can be satisfied by rewarding them with faster going characters.
Go with the flow.
For the normal player, if they memorize the monster's characteristics, they can finish the battle scenes quicker. That's what we were considering when we created the battle system for this game. We took into account both audiences. By the end of the game, you will have 7 characters in your group, so we gave each character a special skill.
A flyer! That's your department, right?
Why don't we let our summoner show us what she's made of?
This way the player has to utilize each of the different characters.
Nothing to fear, the hero's here!
I want the player to think about each character's skills when you battle a strong monster, so you know which character should fight against which monster. In previous Final Fantasy games, when you would summon a monster, they gave one special attack and then left. So they were usually like magic attacks. But this time when you summon a monster, they stick around and fight alongside you.
Please, fight with us!
The summoned monsters are very important for the storyline, so I thought that the player might enjoy seeing them in a battle scene. The graphics and designs are much better this time, so the game has a greater impact. A new element that we introduced is an event scene. You will usually see these when you are fighting with a boss. So for example, you can fight on top of a flying ship or the edge of a cliff. We use a special situation to start a battle scene so the surrounding elements become part of the battle. The graphics and the camera work will change depending on the situation. This gives the player a more cinematic feel.
In the Final Fantasy series, we don't limit ourselves to just orchestral music or rock or jazz. We use any kind of music that we think is interesting. We use an orchestra and a chorus, as we have in the previous Final Fantasy games. But this time, we also use some rock and roll sounds to give some scenes a harder edge. There's a song in Final Fantasy X sung by a folk singer named Riki. She lives on an island south of Japan called Amami. We asked her to sing the main theme song in Final Fantasy X. She has such a great and beautiful voice that we're not going to translate the song into English. Even though the American audience is not going to know what she is singing about, they should grasp the feelings and emotions she is trying to get across. I'm looking forward to see what you think about it. And of course, the song will be on the US soundtrack.
Right after finishing up production of Final Fantasy VIII, we had a meeting to discuss adding voiceovers to match the beautiful images we could create.
Hey, not this way!
Look. And now that we have the PS2 and DVD quality, we have a lot more room to store things, so that everything, including the graphics and sound, can be better.
Called it sin.
The most surprising thing that I experienced in LA when we were recording the voiceovers was that all the actors came to the studio in the morning without any information, and they started right off the bat. And they performed perfectly. In Japan, we requested that all the actors in a scene be in the studio at the same time. But in LA, we recorded each character separately. I was worried how it might work out in the beginning, but it worked out great.
We have been using motion capture since Final Fantasy VIII. We didn't use it that much in Final Fantasy IX because the characters weren't designed to be lifelike. In Final Fantasy X, we use motion capture almost all the time to make the characters seem real. Now that we have the power of the PS2, we were able to have better definition in the battle scenes, with smoother movement and facial expressions for the characters. I really appreciate that we could show these details. Also, we can transition between real-time and full-motion video smoothly now, which makes me really happy. The most challenging part was, well, actually there were a lot of challenges. Particularly getting the details of facial expressions and the movement of hair and clothing. The time it took for a scene depends on the complexity of that scene. The shortest time was 2 to 3 weeks. Most of the time, though, it takes about 1 or 2 months. The longest scene we rendered took about half a year.
With all the work that's gone into it, Final Fantasy X is sure to blow away longtime fans of the series and new players alike. The Squaresoft team is excited about the game, and so are we.
The story of Final Fantasy X is really interesting. So without giving anything away, I want to encourage all the fans of the series not to give up and play all the way to the end of the game. I think you will enjoy the ending.
Up here in the PlayStation R&D office. We've just temporarily lost power to our gravity generator. I was downloading this month's OPM for a sneak preview of the tons of new stuff. So much, in fact, I think I blew a circuit. In this issue, we follow the crew of the PlayStation 2 touring attraction to some of the events to see what it's like to have one of the coolest jobs around. Then we headed up to Crystal Dynamics for a look at Blood Omen 2, Legacy of Kain. We also packed this issue with a bunch of cool moves, demos, and downloads, so check them out! Now, if I could only remember which wire goes with which. The blue with the green, or the green with the red, or was it the red with the yellow? Well, here it goes. Oops, that can't be good.
How would you like to travel around the country from rock festivals to racing events, from air shows to the Super Bowl? And best of all, you got paid for it. Well, if that sounds good to you, meet the guys from the PlayStation 2 touring attraction.
My name is Stacy Greer. I live in Meadowview, Virginia, and I drive the PlayStation 2 touring attraction all around the United States.
My name is Zach Stanfield. I'm 25. I'm from Georgia. Work on the PlayStation 2 touring attraction.
My name is Gustavo Vergara. I am the tour manager of the PlayStation 2 touring attraction, and we're on Bourbon Street, baby.
That's right, the PlayStation Touring Attraction is a 68-foot-long, 22-wheel truck jam-packed with over 30 PlayStation 2 consoles featuring the hottest new games. So how does one get a job this good?
I was drafted straight out of college, #1 pick. Zach Stanfield out of the University of Georgia? No, not really. I knew someone in the company.
I met the guys that were on a smaller truck, and they told me that the big truck, there were some positions coming up in. So I went to the marketing company before the job was really even open up.
Well, I guess it's just a matter of being in the right place at the right time. Since this sounded like such a cool job, we decided to hang out with them for a while and find out what a typical day was like.
Well, first of all, we bring it in, and Stacy kind of surveys wherever the site is, if it's going to be easy or difficult to get into, if the ground's uneven or not, if there's a dip in the road, things like that.
We level it, we open up the walls, hydraulics, lower the floors down, open up the wing walls. Then you take all the kiosks, which are bolted in the center, we have to move them out to their locations and bolt them back down, plug them in, turn the units on, put whatever game we're going to have in that unit in.
Once we're on the truck and everything's set up, people just coming in, we're hanging out, making sure, nothing's going wrong with any of the consoles or anything like that. And just giving away free stuff here and there, stirring up some excitement, having a good time.
We wanted to know what the best part of their job is.
What's better than being at a rock show for work? Getting paid to go watch a concert. That's good stuff. Who else gets to do that?
The coolest events were for sure Ozfest this past summer. That was incredible because we were part of the show. We had all access badges, like we had Rockstar passes in Ozfest. We'd have girls who come on the truck, and be like, "Oh, will you take me backstage? I'll do anything to go backstage." It's crazy, the things you see people do. It's just the wildest ever,
What's up? My name is Brad. I'm out of Phoenix from Lincoln Park.
We wondered if they got to meet many celebrities.
Yeah, we've gotten a few. We did the NFL Experience last year on tour, and that was kind of neat because at each stop, players would come on our truck and sign autographs and play some of the games.
Oh, say goodbye.
Next, we caught up with the guys in Monterey at the famous Laguna Seca racetrack for the Shell 300. Here, not only could you see fast-paced racing, but also got a chance to check out some of the other cool attractions. Then the gang was off on a cross-country trip to the Voodoo Festival in New Orleans, where we found out what they do on their off time.
In between the road, I'll just find stuff to do, go rent a boat and go wakeboarding. Like here, we're a big old swamp tour today. It's just kind of laid back. It was cool, but at least we got to feel something like what New Orleans is kind of about,
This is the third most dangerous alligator in the world. One bite in this remote location, I'd surely be done for.
While in New Orleans, we got to see what the boys do best, and this is what they do to get the crowd pumped up.
Every 15 minutes we get people on the truck. Zach or myself will welcome them, play some music, you know. I usually try to warn them when they come in that the louder they are, the more stuff I'll give them.
Make some noise right now!
To get a t-shirt or another prize when they come on the truck, we have trivia questions, we have prize giveaways.
I'm gonna ask you some simple trivia questions, and if you know the answer, raise your hand. Is that easy?
Maybe we'll have a contest, like I was saying. Maybe a little tag and tag tournament or Formula One or something like that. The winner will win a t-shirt.
It's 2 laps. Next person wins out of the 2 laps.
Well, it can't be all fun and games. There must be some downside to their jobs.
Being a nomad, I guess. Living out of a suitcase all the time. Having nowhere to go home to at the end of the day.
Yes.
It's one of the toughest parts.
I can't remember this from our last day. She's so hot.
Guys, I'm serious. I'm totally embarrassed. You're always this charming. Let's sell a PlayStation. Yeah. I really like the PlayStation guys staying here.
Thank you.
Being away from my family and stuff, you know, that gets wearing after a while. But I talk to them on the phone all the time, and we keep in touch via email. And every once in a while, during a really cool event, I'll fly maybe a friend or 2 out, you know, and we'll just party.
That's right, these guys are on the road 44 weeks out of the year, but their job is definitely in their blood. Even after a long day of giving stuff away, they just can't stop.
We love PlayStation!
Step back in time, my friends, to fight for your life. For Cain rises again. You've met the challenges of Soul Reaver and Blood Omen. Now you will face even bigger challenges in Blood Omen 2.
Blood Omen 2 is kind of Cain rediscovering himself in many ways, where Cain is kind of introduced to a rude awakening early on in the game and kind of has to ascend to power once again.
Cain has been resurrected by the few remaining vampires that are alive in Nosgoth, and they need him to infiltrate the Seraphim, try to figure out who the Seraphim Lord is, what is this new magic he's using to kill all the vampires, and try to overthrow him and regain his conquest of Nosgoth.
In a world of darkness, it's hard to tell who is on the side of the just and who is a force for evil. Such is the case with Cain.
One of the great things about the Legacy of Cain universe is it's not so clear-cut who's the good guys, who's the bad guys. There are characters who you may paint as the bad guy, and all of a sudden you then realize that this guy is actually doing something which is of benefit to somebody else. Cain himself is very self-centered. Everything he does is about what's best for Cain at that time, regardless of whether it's seen as a good thing by the world or an evil thing by those around him.
Cain himself is not necessarily a good guy trying to defend the common man. Cain has this very, very clear set of goals of taking over Nosgoth and turning the world to his will.
One day my people would know me again for their lord, but the vampires who were traitors to their kind would know me first of all.
You will enter this world in a weakened state, and you will have to use all your cunning to grow strong once again.
Cain actually begins the game stripped of most of his former powers. He retains the ability, or some aspect of the ability, to hide himself in mist. Therefore, he's out of the range of most human senses.
Later on, you'll also get the charm ability, where you target another character in the game, and then when you activate it, you actually get inside their head, and the camera moves behind them, and now you control that person.
And Cain himself will have to actually defeat bosses who are powerful in that particular dark gift.
But your dark gifts alone will not be enough to ensure your success. You must also learn to arm yourself.
When Cain sees a thief or a thug or a knight with a weapon that he wants, he can take that weapon from him. Now he's got it. There's a large variety of weapons that Cain can pick up. He can pick up a dagger, or he can pick up a sword or axes, and he'll exchange them for other weapons as he needs them.
We decided to implement a feature whereby the weapons could be broken because we didn't want to focus on players being able to, for instance, button mash so that they could get off a whole series of moves without being punished, and that the combat system will actually reward people who skillfully decide when was the right time to defend or attack. It also helps us display just how powerful Cain's strikes in the world are, that you can shatter a weapon upon an enemy.
You may believe yourself an expert in combat. How wrong you will be. This is a different world that you must master.
The combat system for Blood Omen 2 is very, very different from Blood Omen 1. We really wanted to go with something that showed off Kane's strength as a vampire. So what we let Kane do is we get into a one-on-one combat with a character. Kane can circle around them. You have to time your blocks to characters' attacks. The swords will actually meet up as they're supposed to, so it's really, really cool. But to show off sort of Kane's strength and power, we also let Kane grab other characters. If he can get inside their attacks, he can actually grab them by the neck, lift them up. He's got a weapon. He can do really mean things to them and toss them away.
One thing we've tried to retain for the player is a maximum amount of actions they can perform with the simplest amount of button presses. And so whenever an enemy is attacking Kane, all they need to do is to press the defense or the block button, and we'll actually arrange so that it's perfectly choreographed that Kane will actually intercept the weapon as it's about to land on him. And so it's actually something whereby the player's getting a variety of spectacular style moves, but with the minimum amount of actual control confusion.
Then Kane can also dodge to the side around the person to try to get away from the attack. Now, some of the attacks your opponents have are unblockable, and they have a very special graphic to sort of communicate to the player that you can't block this attack, you have to just get out of the way. Generally, only the larger, stronger enemies have those types of attacks.
It is a mysterious set of forces that controls your fate. You would be wise to learn about them carefully and harness their power.
Glyph technology is something that's very mysterious to the world at the beginning of the game. It's kind of similar to electricity in some ways, that people know it's there, but they don't always know what it's about, how it actually works.
You flip switches, the glyph energy travels across a glyph line, powers up a piece of machinery, and it does something that's cool. Opens a door, it crushes stone, it does whatever.
The Seraphim have been employing it for things such as ward gates, and you can imagine them as metal detectors for vampires, so the humans can pass straight through them. But anytime a vampire nears, it begins to glow, and eventually if the vampire tries to cross such a portal, they'll be repelled, and all the guards in the world around will know that that person was a vampire.
In playing Kane, beware, or you too can fall victim to his spell.
I think vampires are something that has always been kind of on the edges of being in vogue. It's always mysterious, it's seductive. For some people it's erotic perhaps. I don't think it's anything that particularly comes in and out of fashion. It's just always ever present.
Kane's the most recognized bad guy in video games, and he's really cool and people love playing him.
DJ Kubert, and I'm a scratch musician. A scratch musician is someone that plays the turntable like a musical instrument, pretty much improv on turntables and manipulating sounds on vinyl. CDs are cool, but you can't scratch on them. Any sound on vinyl is a musical instrument to us. The Octagon is right here. This is the Octagon. This is where all the DJs around the world come and do session, kind of like a big jam session. Yeah, my favorite video game would have to be Twisted Metal Black as my favorite video game. I'm just pretty much a Twisted Metal fan. That's just me. Spectre. He's the car that can shoot through walls. Spectre was a guy in the last game, so don't think I'm kind of different. All-time favorite game is Street Fighter 2. I would have to say I kick everyone's ass, Street Fighter. Yeah, I'm the best. So, it's hands down. Everyone in the crew wants to play video games, so it's just take turns. On tours, we usually practice in the hotel rooms, but sometimes we'll pull out the PlayStation and kind of play games, you know, so that's kind of like a no-no, but we can't help it. You could turn down the music, but leave the sound effects on, and we just blast what we play. I would love to do a fast kind of track for Wipeout. We're doing a movie called Wave Twisters. It's an animated hip-hop graffiti animation. Sid, Garen, and Eric Henry animated, and I did all the music for it.
Pac-Man's back and everyone's feeling it. What do you got? Ooh. Nice try. Real graceful. That ain't it. Weak. Is that all you got? Pac-Man World 2. Rated E for everyone.
welcome to issue 62 of the official PlayStation 2 demo disc brought to you by the PlayStation Underground. In this issue, see how Bandai is creating an anime, movie, and video game in one with Dot Hack. If you like gadgets, weapons, and blowing stuff up, we've got all the info on the action shooter Ratchet & Clank. Lara Croft stopped raiding tombs just long enough to answer some of our questions about her new game. And video game composer Tommy Tallarico shows us around his home and music studio. Plus, don't forget to check out all the cool moves, downloads, and demos in the vault.
Prepare to be transported to a brilliant sci-fi universe filled with imaginative characters, high-tech weapons and gadgets, and unprecedented action-packed shooting adventure. Welcome to the brave new world of Ratchet & Clank.
When we started talking about the ideas behind Ratchet & Clank, this character that rockets from planet to planet with weapons and gadgets, well, weapons suddenly jumped to the foreground. Ratchet lives on a backwater planet out in the edges of the galaxy.
He's a tinkerer, loves to put things together and take them apart to see how they work, very curious.
He's got this really strong thirst for adventure. And lucky for him, he gets to meet Clank, which allows him to travel to new worlds.
And Ratchet and Clank meet each other, but they don't necessarily get along.
Ratchet just wants to go out and blow stuff up and have a good time, and Clank is much more serious about accomplishing his goals.
Showcasing an impressive arsenal of state-of-the-art and radical weapons and gadgets, Ratchet & Clank delivers the future of entertainment here and now.
When you get weapons in this game, there's such immediate gratification. You can go out and blow the crap out of everything.
With the gadgets, we wanted to make sure that there was a lot of different options for the player when they're playing to kind of explore a lot of different ways to kind of cause some havoc and destruction. There's the Tesla Claw, which shoots a bolt of electricity out, which actually picks characters up and throws them mid-air, and they explode. You've got the Suck Cannon, which allows you to suck characters in and hold them and fire them back out. The Rhino is an acronym for Rip Ya a New One, and you just stand back, fire that thing, and it destroys anything in its way.
I love the pyrocitor. I'm not sure what that says about me.
One of the most unique weapons we have is the Visibomb.
It's awfully fun to cruise around the level from the bird's eye view and then target an enemy on the ground and just blow them up.
We were really surprised how quickly Ratchet came together. Ratchet started as this really small, scrappy cat-type thing, then kind of a much taller dog-like creature. And what I ended up doing is actually taking these two forms and putting them together, and that's pretty much how we ended up with them.
As artists, we've set a really high standard for what we want to achieve in this game, but it feels really good to know that programmers, the designers, everybody has set equally high standards.
Everybody who comes on board here is excellent at what they do and have really high expectations of delivering excellence.
When someone plays an Insomniac game, they can see anywhere they look in the game, there's an attention to detail, quality, as well as technical performance that is never lacking.
Developed by Insomniac Games, Ratchet & Clank is the development team's first entertainment venture for the PlayStation 2.
We knew we had to come up with something that was going to raise the bar even farther than Spyro had as far as action platformers went. And that's where Ratchet & Clank came from. We're actually expanding the genre. We're trying to break out of what people typically consider the action platformer or character action game genre.
One of the big differences between Spyro and Ratchet is being able to animate this stuff on the PS2.
In a single level in this game, there's probably more art than was in an entire game on one of our PS1 releases.
Every single level of the game, we bring forth something new for the player to do. By the 5th or 6th level of this game, we are up to the complexity of the strongest titles in the category, and there's a lot of levels in this game.
It's a very deep machine. We've written immense amounts of code and assembly language, probably more than 100,000 lines compared to what we did on the PS1. you know, more by a factor of 10.
We can have very rich, detailed environments. We can have lots of enemies attacking you at once with their different behaviors. The AI has become more complex. With faster processor speeds, we can have many ships and planes and vehicles just traveling through to breathe life into the environments.
There's loads and loads of stuff wherever you look. There's detail, there's movement, explosions. It's a busy world.
We're not just creating these environments and expecting them to sit there and expecting people to say, wow, your polygons are so pretty. The point is, it's alive, and there's a lot going on. It's not a static universe, it's an interactive universe, and you interact with it.
This game has a lot of great things: art, technology, design, power from the PlayStation 2, but the best part of it is you get to blow shit up.
With a team of talented designers, programmers, artists, and animators, Insomniac Games raises the bar and delivers another captivating game only for the PlayStation 2.
When I tell people about what I do for a living, like, that's not work. It's fun.
The Insomniacs don't take themselves too seriously, and people love to come to work and just have a good time, and I think that really is shown in our characters.
Look, plumber's crack.
What did you just say?
I said, look, the plumber's back.
All right, wise guy.
We, as a company, are committed to giving our games a lot of humor. We use a little bit more sarcasm, and the humor's a little bit more biting.
With an immense arsenal of gadgets and weapons, innovative gameplay mechanics, an evolving economic system, unparalleled technology, and vibrantly detailed graphics, Ratchet & Clank is a galaxy-stomping, adrenaline-soaked masterpiece.
We've gone out of our way to make this thing the largest, loudest, most active world we could possibly think of.
What Insomniac has done with this game blows my mind every time I see it. Like, I just sit in awe and stare at the visual material and just the all-encompassing feel that this game offers.
There are a lot of things that the players have to do, a lot of things that players have to keep in mind, but when it comes down to it, it's really just about blowing shit up.
Blow up a lot of shit.
Blow up.
Blowing shit up.
Ratchet & Clank, coming to a galaxy near you.
That is the Morph Array, and that, of course, is Jerry. The Morph Array is used in Ratchet & Clank to turn your enemies into chickens.
No, wait, before you do that, just explain to me how it's going to work.
Oh, it worked! Jerry's a chicken. Are you sure we can turn him back, Jerry?
The Morph Array, one of 36 weapons and gadgets not fit for this world. Rated T for teen.
Okay, Pete here is going to try to hit that target with the Devastator, a rocket launcher designed for Ratchet & Clank.
The Devastator. One of 36 weapons and gadgets not fit for this world. Rated T for Teen.
That is Corey. He's helping us with our inflatable decoy test for Ratchet and Clank. Oh, man.
The inflatable decoy. One of 36 weapons and gadgets not fit for this world. Rated T for Teen.
In desperate days, heroes are chosen, not just for their courage or for their skills. Heroes are chosen by fate, by their own destiny. And within this fragile choice, great hopes and dreams reside. And one hero will emerge to shoulder our darkest burdens and lead us all to a brave new world. Adventures from the past will determine the course of the future.
We're in the future, Dax. This horrible place is our world.
And a world transformed by darkness.
Why is the Baron giving eco to metalheads?
Will become the challenge of a lifetime.
Questions like that could get a person killed.
Naughty Dog presents the next generation of adventure.
Something's happening to me. I can't control it.
And reveals the secrets of a hero's destiny. Triumph, betrayal, revenge. Jack and Daxter.
Where would you be without me, eh, Dax?
Well, Jack, I probably wouldn't be 2 feet tall, fuzzy, and running around in a sewer without a pair of pants.
A new legacy begins.
This is the weapon Jack uses to defeat the enemies here. Would you like to check it out? Uh-oh, here comes the Crimson Guard! Is he part of the tour? No, he's not part of the tour.
This world is better left to Jack. Rated T for Teen.
Let's go take care of business.
As the tour begins, notice Jack and Daxter's world is extremely vast. If you look to the left, you'll see the Sage's Tree of Life, and if you look to the right... Wow! Most of our tourists never see a metalhead this close up. So get your cameras out now, folks, because once he's full, he won't be back for a while.
This world is better left to Jack. Rated T for Teen.
I'm just getting started.
Here in our tour of Jack and Daxter's world, we have the Baron to help demonstrate a battle scene. All right, let's pretend you're Jack. All right. Now summon your Dark Jack powers. My what? Okay, you need to be a bit quicker with your Dark Jack powers.
This world is better left to Jack. Rated T for teen.
Ah, eat this.
It's an evil city. A place of constant torment. Pain awaits around every corner. Fear rules with an iron fist. And he couldn't care less.
The demolition duo has returned.
This world is better left to Jack. Rated T for teen. After being transported to a foreign world, wrongfully imprisoned, then tortured for 2 years, anyone would give up hope. Well, almost anyone.
Let's go take care of business.
This world is better left to Jack. Rated T for teen.
We set out to do a lot more than just create another game that has more levels and different enemies. We wanted to change the player's experience, give them something that they hadn't had before, while still retaining the feel of Jack and Daxter.
That's right. Don't mess with the sugar.
In Jack 2, we were able to build upon what we had created before and go in all new kinds of directions and create things that would not have been possible with the original engine because we had such a great starting point to work with.
We wanted to really up the ante in a number of different realms. First of all, we wanted to put a lot more things on screen, enemies that were attacking you, things moving around, so the player had the real feeling of being in an inhabited world instead of just a pretty world, and that adds a lot more options in terms of gameplay.
Let me handle this, Jack. Watch my finesse and style.
This story is a much more complex story than the original Jack and Daxter. We're exploring a large number of more adult themes. There's bigger, greater evils around you, and there's betrayal and love. This is not just a kid's story. This is a story with a much broader reach.
Jack has really done a lot of growing up this game. The plot actually starts out with him spending some time in jail, and he becomes hardened, and when he emerges, he's definitely changed.
We're not doing anything until you tell us why metalheads are trading with the Baron's forces.
I should have had you both kneecapped, eh?
We knew what kind of character he was going into the first Jack and Daxter, but now we really have the opportunity to really develop his persona and his character. There's a very volatile element to this universe, which is the dark eco, and now we start to see how that's affecting Jack.
Something's happening to me. Something he did. I can't control it.
That was cool. Do it again.
Here we have the evolution of what became Final Jack. Here we start seeing the Jack that we're more used to. His hair got a bit more weighted down. We still wanted to keep it long. Actually, we tried the buzz cut here. We tried various other looks, the locks on the side, the facial hair still is kind of sticking around. We kind of like this kind of look as well with the rebel look and the old headgear and a bit added on. So we can see that Jack's been through some combat. He's beefed up and he's ready to go.
It took us a long time to find the right voice for Jack. But Mike Irwin, I mean, if there is a person in the real world that is Jack, it's Mike Irwin.
We've done what you've asked. Now when do we see the shadow?
Max Casella has returned to reprise the role as Daxter, and he is just a goldmine for us.
This could have a serious impact on the lady factor.
He's a bit grown up now because he's now in the big city, and there's a lot of big city vices for him to experiment with.
Hot. And wait, I've seen you before.
Shh, I'm Tess. Play along, and I may be able to get my hands on a few secrets.
Ooh, I love undercover work, baby.
We were always just thinking that basically the abuse of Daxter is the fun of this game.
Do something, Jack! This guy's crazy! I need one of those!
The reason the animation looks more sophisticated this time around is because there's been some tweaks to the engine. We're also just being a lot more clever about the way we allocate memory and design our levels. The most visible difference in the cutscenes is that our characters now have upwards of 10,000, 12,000 polys in them, whereas in the first game, the original Jak and Daxter, the characters would have maybe 2 or 3. The bottom line is what we are doing now in real time on the PlayStation 2 took an entire room full of computers, hours to do, as little as 5 years ago.
We have a much greater amount of detail in the new game. We have single locations on our game that have larger polygon counts, equal polygon counts to some of the entire levels in the original game.
What's great about working with Naughty Dog is these guys are not happy just to have their game look as good as their previous game. They want to set a new standard for animation or artwork or programming on every single game that they do.
We're always trying to push the envelope on both a technical and artistic scale.
Jak 2 is really a landmark title for Naughty Dog. We're really trying to create a cinematic feel that will set the new standard that other games will try to emulate.
Give me the agreed-upon eco soon, or the deal is off. I've seen what comes of such foolish plans.
I want information. Where the hell am I?
I think the Baron set me up. Actually, I think everybody's trying to kill me.
Kira, this is Ashlyn. She's just...
Everyone knows who she is.
And Kira's...
A friend. A very good friend.
We're not doing anything until you tell us why metalheads are trading with the Baron's forces.
I should have had you both kneecapped, eh? Good night.
Wonder, how come we get all the crappy missions?
Because I don't like you.
Fair enough.
On and welcomes you, blah 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 blah, the usual boring salutations. She says it is good to see you again, Jak. But we've never met before. Before, after, it is all the same. Something's happening to me. Something he did. I can't control it.
Duo has returned.
Jak and Daxter.
You're amazing.
Yeah, I know. Scratch me there.
This is a death sentence, Vigor. There must be another way.
Your protest was overruled. This dark eco-freak is dangerous. Now drop the cargo!
Someone will find you, I promise.
Good plan, Jak. A nap would be nice.
the unforgiving wasteland, we value strength and survival above all. Prove yourselves worthy, or the desert will be your grave.
We use these babies to make runs into the deep desert. Tough wheels for tough work.
I'm designing new guns to help out the war effort. Want to try it out?
Heroes think they can save the world when they themselves are lost. You could not possibly understand the dark forces at work here.
Don't talk to me about dark powers.
You need a hug, Jack, because we got plenty to go around.
Behold the pure power of light. One which will help you reach new places.
The Daystar approaches. This planet's final trial is coming.
You seem upset. How delightful.
Jack, we're in serious trouble.
That floating war factory has got to be shut down.
If we lose this one, we're history. You are a great hero, Daxter.
Behold the seed of our destruction.
You give us all hope, Jack.
Hang on, Dax. It's gonna be close.
Not you.
Come on, Bigfoot, let's get back. This desert gives me the creeps.
There comes a time when a hero must either accept his destiny or walk away from it, must either fight or set his gun aside. This is that time, and this is that hero. The other guy? Join Jack and Daxter in their final adventure, the conclusion, the answers, the end of an epic.
Well, Daxter, my old friend, it's finally over. We've answered the mystery of the Precursor Legacy, and we've defeated the last of our enemies.
He's mine!
The epic Jack trilogy is coming to its dramatic conclusion.
Okay.
Rest assured, it won't end like this.
Just lift your foot and I'll kick your... Well, Jack, it's over. There's just one thing left to say. I am your father.
What?
I'm your father!
Right, yeah.
Listen to your feelings.
You're not my
No,
father.
seriously, your mother and I...
The epic Jack trilogy is coming to its dramatic conclusion.
Before you were born, obviously.
Rest assured, it won't end like this.